welcome to Inconceivable. I'm William.
I'm Alex.
I'm Wesley. And we can show you Dayway.
That worked pretty good. Dabs everywhere.
What were you saying before the podcast?
I was saying
Spiteful dab.
Dab and despite. I'm just like,
do it.
I'm gonna do that at cons now. Just be like, oh, I see someone I don't like. Hello.
I dab in spite of you.
Yeah, you can't see it, or you might not be able to see it, but the
like
dab is very spiteful. It's kind of like the
like
Thriller arms, only all the way up.
I'm just like that.
Yeah. It's like a not fully extended dab.
It's like if you were
I don't even
T-Rex.
respect you enough to
It's like,
dab all the way.
If you were a dinosaur and doing it, you're just like, all right.
Yeah.
Little arms.
Alternate name could be Dinosaur Dab. Dino Dab.
I dab in spite of your existence.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
I'm gonna dab into my top end. I kind of wanted to talk about like video games,
So
like
you want
the current.
flip Gary?
Yeah, I'll flip Gary.
Flip Gary the time turner.
We can talk about the current state of video games. What your guys' video game history is like.
Mm-hmm. Hey, games have changed a lot over the years.
Yeah,
Really
and
have, and we touched on it last week.
We talked about it a little bit last week, and so I kind of wanted to
really expand
go
upon
at it a little more.
Yeah.
Because the last game that I like, there have been games recently that I've enjoyed, but the last game that I really felt like fully immersed in was Batman Arkham Knight, and that was like back in 2015. So
That's still better than me, honestly.
yeah, I mean, I might have played some games after that weren't new, but I was like, oh, but it's just, I don't know. It's games are different now to me than they used to be.
Well, people want things fast nowadays, I think. It's like people want to do, they want to play online, basically. They want to play against people or with people.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what my opinion is. But it feels like campaigns and storylines have gone on the down low.
It seems like Call of Duty was the original Modern Warfare was really strong because it had a strong campaign and strong multiplayer, and that kind of brought up a new era of games that had to pull double duty with having both a strong campaign.
Double duty.
Accidental pun, if you can believe it.
Kill me.
So you had had to have a strong campaign and a strong multiplayer, and that's setting a new precedence for video games because you have people who mainly like multiplayer and people who mainly like campaigns.
Yeah.
Halo had to do the same thing. You had Battlefield trying to do the same thing. You had a lot of other games trying to do that. But I think now that it's starting to become so status quo, we're seeing the separation of games that are becoming primarily campaign or primarily multiplayer.
And like we were talking about last week, it's just like they focus so much on the production value of these things rather than like the actual gameplay and when they don't, like, I don't know, my problem with games lately has been they're just too complicated. I don't know, like, this seems like there's so much going on, because I'm a big RPG guy, and, like, I go to play an RPG now, and it seems like there's so much going on, and character creation is a big deal for me. Like, I love customization of any kind in a game, but it seems like there's just too many options now. Like, you don't even know what to choose, like I kind of like so my favorite video game series of all time is the Elder Scrolls, and I think I like the amount of control over your features you have in Skyrim,
right?
Because you can just flip through different kinds of the facial features, and I like that. But like games like Fallout 4, where maybe I would have liked it better on PC, where you can I'm sure there's things you can do to make it easier, but just on console, like, it's so, like, there's so much, like, you don't even really know what you're doing, like, to the face. Like, it's just...
I tried doing that, actually, when I was
so
playing,
intricate.
What was it? Mass Effect. I was trying to play Mass Effect for the first time. I was trying to figure out what my face was. And they're saying all these things, like, most of the different, like, the crease of your eyebrows or your forehead or something. I'm like,
exactly.
What?
I know, it's just like, and then you sit there looking at your own face forever, and you're like... How do I make my guy look like me? Like, it's just like, I don't know what I have on my face.
And what's so funny is I think some games are tailored to some certain face types. So, like, for instance, GTA 5, I was able to, and you know this, I was able to make someone who looked really close to me, and that was weird. But that's almost accidental because your face to yourself is almost different.
They all start with a preset.
Right.
Like even in Fallout 4, you have that. They have the preset face in the Mass Effect games. There's a preset face, and it's just
because you can only. It's weird because it's like there's so much options per se, but in the end, it kind of harks back to some certain face structure.
Yeah.
I think Rock Band 3 had a really good one for you, if I remember correctly. There's always some character model that
my Rock Band 3 guy looks a lot like. Actually, it looks like me or John Lennon, depending on how you look at it. But it's pretty close. A little bit of background on my video game history is my first interaction with video games is probably the NES, the original NES, because my dad had one, and then a little bit of exposure with the SNES, but not so much. It was a lot of the NES. Played like Tecmo Bowl, and I remember this like obscure like Jekyll and Hyde game. I don't even remember what it was like. I just remember I can still picture the game cartridge. Like it was weird. And like the original Mario Bros and stuff.
Nintendo is basically where it was at.
Yeah, well, and I think that's the case for a lot of people. But I really started to get into it because that was just kind of like, oh, cool, Dad has an NES. We'll play games, a little bit. I really got into it there was like this Spyro game, like Spyro, like Seasons or something like that for the Game Boy. So my like gateway game was Spyro Seasons on like the original Game Boy Advance, and that inspired me to buy a GameCube with my birthday money the next year. Nice. And the GameCube was my first console. And I remember I played Sonic Heroes without a game card, without a memory card. I beat the whole game in one sitting because I didn't have a memory card.
It was sit there like a long time then. I remember when we had to play without a memory card, and it was awful.
Oh yeah, you remember that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, okay,
because I just got it.
Well, I just started when I first started playing video games. I think I had a Game Boy Advance, and I don't know what happened to it. This was like a while back when I lived back in Norway. So I was like 4 or 5. I was playing it. I'm like, this is awesome. If it doesn't work, you just take out the cartridge, blow in it, and then put it back in. You're like, yeah, that works so much better. We had a PlayStation when we moved from...
I remember that.
Moved to the States. That was really early on. And then I don't know what happened to it. I think my parents got rid of it or something.
Well, to this day, William, that's the only time I've ever touched a PlayStation 1. It was at the Shaw House. You guys had like Jet Set Radio or something like that.
I don't know. I remember playing it was a skating game or something.
Yeah.
But then Gordon, my brother, he bought a GameCube, I think, with his money or something. And we were playing. We're like, this is awesome. And then it says you're not able to save stuff without a memory card. And we're like, what?
I remember those days.
So we would play as much as we could, and then we would have to stop and we're like, goodbye, old friend, to all the memories.
Yeah, I know. Just have to shut it off.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I think eventually we did get memory cards.
I did too.
But the thing is that it was like, we only had like a certain amount of time that we were allowed to play in the day, so we're just like, I'll play this. And then we'd practically beg our parents, like, can I have another 15 minutes, please? I need to play Mario Kart.
Also been there.
Now.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, those were the days. I was like, wow. It's weird thinking back on that. 'Cause it's like so different. And again, it was all the Nintendo games. It was like Mario Kart. There was, what was it? There was Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi's Mansion was so good.
I was scared
I still
watching
haven't played it.
I didn't actually play it. My brother and my sister played it, and I was scared to death watching it. I'm just like,
I do remember watching my cousin playing it, thinking it was the scariest thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And now you look back on it, and you're just like, it's like a parody of
I know,
horror.
right?
Like, it's not even scary.
House. Those are scary.
It's not even scary.
Yeah, no, I also remember being like scared of it too for some reason. But now looking back, I'm like, what the heck
How
did
could I have
even
ever
find
been scared of that?
remotely
Yeah.
scary?
Going back to Mario Kart, Bowser's Castle, the music in that was terrifying for me.
I know. I can't sympathize with you there.
I had to turn the sound down.
I was never scared of Mario Kart.
See, this is a problem. I'm scared of Mario
Alex was
Kart.
a pretty delicate child.
I was very delicate, guys. You have no idea. You knew me for a while, but even like that.
Yeah.
I grew up with a lot of PlayStation in my life. My dad had a PlayStation, like OG PlayStation. That's what I grew up on. The first game I played was Rage Racer. I played a lot of that, and I got really into racing games.
You're just a PlayStation guy, honestly.
I am. Wesley leans more towards Xbox.
I'm an Xbox
What
guy.
about you? Do you lean in any way, or just whatever's available?
I was a pretty big Xbox fan.
Yeah, because I like inherited.
You really like Halo.
I do love
that kind of
it.
like Halo
was the game
embraced
for me.
you.
Your brother gave me his original Xbox, and that was my next console after
nice.
the GameCube.
Yeah. So I had a PlayStation for a year, and then my grandparents, holy crap, came in clutch, bought me the new PlayStation 2, which came out like 2 months before they bought it for me, and that was the it console for the longest time. Like, I remember, like, that was the biggest it console until the Wii came along. Remember when the Wii was around and that was the it console? Because it was even hard to get. You couldn't just get a Wii at one point.
Yeah.
You had to, like...
I was actually really thrown off because I think it was 2008 or 2009. My brother bought the 360, and I was like, "Oh, it's the coolest thing ever."
That was big too.
No,
because
that wasn't the big thing though. It was like we got it, and then that was, I want to say, in the fall/winter time. That Christmas, my grandmother got us two Xbox games, and I'm like, "How did you know we had a 360? How did you know it was the right console? This is so weird." So Gordon got the fighting game. I got the car game, which was still fine.
Do you remember what the games were?
I had... No, I don't remember what it was. I still have it.
The 360 was my golden age of gaming.
Me too,
I played all of my favorite games on the 360.
I like those Star Wars games.
Yeah.
Dude, those really
I offer a little bit different spectrum here because I played mostly racing games, mostly because it was my first game, but then it also... Because I realized everybody wants something a little bit different out of video games. For me, I actually compare racing games... People are going to hate me for this. I compare racing games to FPSs. And the reason for that, hear me out, is that racing games is all about getting a thrill, just like you can have with an FPS, but then also refining your skills in competition.
Yeah.
So I don't like puzzle games. I like being challenged mentally, but not so much where there's not thrill in it. That's what I don't like about puzzle games. I did play a fair amount of Crash Bandicoot because it did give more so a thrill to puzzle games.
And that was one of the front runners for PlayStation, right. So I kind of had to.
Yeah, and then for racing games, it's that same mentality of you're refining your skills in competition with others. And the nice thing about racing games is that it's much more fun playing in a multiplayer atmosphere without playing multiplayer.
Yeah. So
playing with computer makes sense. They can actually be super challenging. Unlike if you're playing computers in a first-person shooter, it's just not the same.
It's not the same.
So, but I love the interaction of that thrill and that wanting to improve your skills over the same objective, and versing against other competition. And then I also loved some shooters allow you to do this, but just customization.
Customization. Heard it here first.
Customization of the character in general. And for me, it's the car. And that's cool. It's so cool. So you can change like certain settings in your car. I loved Gran Turismo growing up. It's not the same game anymore, by the way. It's disappointing. But anyways, I really liked that. And just cars were cool. I really loved cars. So it was really awesome choosing the best car and fine-tuning it. And just
I think the only racing game I ever really got into was one of the Underground racing games, and I can't remember.
Need
for Speed Underground.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Need for Speed.
I love Need for Speed Underground.
Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 on the PlayStation 2. Let me be specific. On the PlayStation 2. It's the same game on Xbox, but not GameCube. I've played it on the GameCube. It's a downgraded... It's like an arcade game. It's not the same game, despite it having the same title. It's not. It's even developed by a different person. So
there was a lot of that back in the day.
It's literally not the same game. Hot Pursuit 2 was easily one of the best games of the PlayStation 2. I'm saying it because it was so much fun because you had the really cool cars, the customizations, and all that kind of stuff. And on top of that, you freaking had this almost power-like system of having cops and helicopters and trying to use those as traps for other people, adding a whole other dimension of strategy, and having a really good split screen offered some really fun multiplayer at home. And I adored that game. Still, they've never made a good... that was the last true good Need for Speed game, in my opinion. So they've made some decent ones, but ever since then it's been downhill for Need for Speed.
So what do you guys think it's like for kids nowadays playing video games? Because for us, we had it very limited, I think. And while it's limited nowadays for kids, maybe, I'm not sure. They also have, if you have a phone, there's apps on there.
Yeah, I don't know. That changes everything too, because I don't really know what the gaming landscape is like now.
I think the defining game of this generation right now is Minecraft. We take it for granted because it's
and
just
they play
now,
that on computers mostly, and that's a whole different ball game. I mean, I'm a console kid. My
computer games were pinball and solitaire.
Yeah, same here. I went from GameCube to the original Xbox, and by the way, the 360 might have been like my golden age of gaming when I was really into it, but it's like, I don't know. It's like you can kind of, my experience with the original Xbox, you can kind of throw in with that because My first exposure to the Elder Scrolls was on the original Xbox. I played Morrowind on the original Xbox. I loved both of the 2 original Battlefront games. There are other ones. We were talking about one earlier. Do you think of Crash Bandicoot as a PlayStation only?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I played Crash Bandicoot on the original Xbox. I kid you not. Yeah.
I don't...
There is,
possible.
yeah.
Where?
Crash
What?
Bandicoot came out on the original Xbox. I'll just...
research that.
I'm going to look it up real quick.
I will say, just to clear the record here, yes, PlayStation was my console, and I went straight up that PlayStation ladder, but I also took a step back while playing the PlayStation 2 and played the NES and the SNES growing up. And I love those consoles dearly. I'm a huge fan of Street Fighter 2. Put so much time into that game. I love that game.
Yeah, Crash
Mario
Bandicoot.
Brothers.
Oh, sorry, keep going.
Super Mario Bros. Love this. Is my favorite Mario Bros. Still to this day. It's just because of nostalgia. It's a little bit biased. And then Top Gear, which not many people have heard of, but it's a really fun racing game on the SNES.
Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex.
Oh yes.
Yep.
See, the reason being for that is that was the first game. Let me think. I could be wrong.
It is the first of the entire series to not be released exclusively for a PlayStation console.
Because it wasn't made by Underdog, right? Naughty Dog, sorry.
It was developer Traveler's Tales.
Yep. See, that's why it changed, because Naughty Dog, the original maker, made 3 games, and after that they went on to make Jak and Dexter.
Jak and Dexter, yeah.
And then they went on to make I think Uncharted was next. Yeah, Uncharted, and then Last of Us. That's been the progression of series.
Yeah, developers Naughty Dog from 96 to 99, then Eurocam from 2000 2001, Traveler's Tale from 2001 2004, and it keeps changing.
And that's when Crash Bandicoot stopped being good, is when Naughty Dog left them, because they were the geniuses behind everything. So,
are you guys excited at all for video games nowadays, or is it just like because that you guys have like grown out of video games, or is it because of the video games themselves?
Here's my theory, at least for myself, and I didn't even realize this until a few days ago, because I just like I logged off of Facebook indefinitely, and what it made me realize was, I think I started to lose interest in video games when I got a smartphone.
Yeah.
I think it changed my how much I could pay attention to things. Does that make sense? Because
even when I'm watching TV, I still have my phone around.
Yeah, exactly. I just can't and I'm noticing it coming back to me now that I'm not on Facebook all the time, is that I'm able to pay attention to things more often, because I didn't get a smartphone until either the end of 2014 or the beginning of 2015. I can't remember, and that's when I stopped playing video games so much, just from that point on.
Well, because I think it all comes down to that dopamine release. And your phones, in general, it's so much faster, it's so much quicker. So your desire to go, even though it's not a lot of effort, there is effort involved, even getting set up on your couch, booting up the console and choosing what game you want to play and getting into that mode.
Even putting DVDs into even putting DVDs into watch a movie.
I just want to watch
you just want to go on an app and watch it on there.
Yeah, we're so maybe my problem with video games is not so much the video games, it's a problem with me, and it's because of the culture. Yeah. It's So that's where I'm at with video games right now. Is there are good ones still coming out. I mean, Assassin's Creed Origins as I've heard, and Wolfenstein 2 I've heard are phenomenal, both of them.
I think games just now have to, what they have to do now is to be so much more different than they used to be. What I mean by that, they have to come out of the crowd. They have to make you want to pull yourself out of that world where you're willing to sink time to that.
Yeah.
So, for instance, there's this new PlayStation exclusive coming up that I just saw yesterday, like an actual gameplay demo, and I've only, I think they announced it at E3 last year. E3's coming up in a couple months. Yes, that's going to be exciting. But it's this game, Something in Detroit, and it's about this game with androids who are trying to fight for their own rights, basically. But do you know...
are we talking about androids as in robots, or androids as in the phone?
Androids as in robots.
Okay, I was just seeing the phones coming sentient. I'm whoa!
So think of Delta, Data. Wow, I don't know why I said Delta.
Like iRobot.
Data from Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. So it's like those kinds of beings, and trying to fight for their own rights. And it's a very Do you know Heavy Rain and
Yep.
Beyond Two Souls? It's that type of game where there's lots of interaction, but it's at its core a multiple choice game.
Those are some of those types of games are some of the last games I played because they were they were simple, but they still involved you making choices, like the Traveler Tales games, the Walking Dead, stuff like that. Those are some of the last games that really gripped me too.
Because you know what's about that is because we still make time for things like movies and TV, and this, in a way, feels more like a movie or TV show, but with more interaction.
It's kind of like the video game version of a choose your own adventure book.
So the lack of gameplay per se is not a weak point. It's just in a different mood.
It's easier to consume.
And this game's really cool because you can go through all these things, and there's this gameplay video of where he's trying to save this guy who's trying to, like, he's on the edge of a skyscraper and he's got this little girl as hostage, and you see the percentage of your likelihood to complete this mission go up and down depending on your decisions. And they're not A and B. They're like 4 to 5 decisions on so many things.
Yeah.
So it's really, they really fleshed this system out and this whole idea of multiple choice stories, and it looks really, really good. So look that up. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me.
It's almost like making decisions
Something
in real life.
Detroit.
Yeah, something
like hold on.
PlayStation exclusive, search Detroit, something like that. Is there any games that you're like specifically like eyeing on, like that might?
I still want to play Battlefront. I don't know.
Detroit Becoming Human. Sorry.
Thank you.
Become Human. Detroit Become Human.
That's it. Look out for that game, people. That looks really, really good.
Yeah, like I kind of want to play Battlefront 2, but it's like paying the money for that and then hearing all the controversy and also just sitting down and playing it.
Yep.
It's like...
Say, we can play the real Battlefront 2 downstairs right now.
Can we? Is your Xbox working again?
Yeah, what do you mean?
You said the tray wouldn't open.
Oh, that happens all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to play that again because that was really, really fun. That was actually one of like the days that I really remember from this year, even though we just started the year, is like when we had the snowstorm and we watched Star Wars, we played Battlefront, and we watched more Star Wars while I was talking to somebody about Star Wars on my phone.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a good day.
It was a good day. Yeah.
So yeah, to kind of cap this conversation off, I liked what we touched about last time, where gaming companies need to put more effort in the gameplay. And I think that's only half the problem. The other half of the problem is us. You know, the fact that
people are changing too.
Yeah, if you want to make the personal decision to fix your attention deficit, then there are still good games out there. But if you're looking at it from the video game developer's perspective and saying, how do we overcome the fact that this is happening to people and we can't bank on them wanting to fix it themselves, they have to find a new way to appeal to people.
Yeah,
it's like
through that
you have to instantly like get them get their attention hooked, basically.
Yeah, you got to come up with some new crazy mechanism, some new gameplay mechanic that works.
People don't want to work for the game anymore, if that makes any sense. Like, you have to slowly progress in games like you used to, and you just still do at times. But like,
I think that's one of the reasons why PUBG is so popular right now. It's just all action. It's all suspense and all action.
And it's great for multiplayer. That, you know...
You see, that's a great example of a game focusing on multiplayer and not worrying about campaign. And then, like, Detroit Become Human, great example of a game focusing on campaign, not multiplayer. I think that those things need to become more and more separate. I think the age of having games pulling both sides is just... It's too much. Because then they're both lacking these days, you know?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I do want to play PUBG.
I'm waiting. It's coming soon. I'm waiting for the PlayStation release because PlayStation doesn't have a beta program like Xbox and PC or Steam does.
Yeah.
So once as they're approaching their actual official release, I know it's hard to believe PUBG isn't even officially released. Once they hit that point, then it'll be available on PlayStation.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, I was gonna say because it's on Xbox, but they have a system where they so.
You had to sell your Xbox One.
I voluntarily sold it. I think I'm moving on in that part of my life.
Moving on.
It's more fun to talk about video games for me now than actually play them.
We should play more video games. I didn't think I'd actually say that, but I do want to play more video games.
I still do I still like playing all the games that I've already played. I guess I'm not interested in embarking on new,
That's fair. I get that.
Video game adventures.
Yeah. All right, is it my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn.
All right, I'm gonna flip Gary, and I'm also gonna move.
Go for it.
There we go.
Cool.
Just like that. Yeah. So, I'm gonna be talking about My Hero Academia. And
woo!
Spoiler warning: I'm gonna be talking full spoilers. I'm also gonna give a brief idea of what it is to Wesley. Yeah, it's another anime. You need to get into some anime.
No.
Yeah.
Well, if you're thinking about anime and you're thinking, holy crap, where do I start? What's the best one to even like pique my interest? This is highly recommended.
Yeah, it gets your attention in like the first 2 episodes.
Super easy to watch, super rewarding, super quick, and it's honestly, as far as anime is concerned, not that crazy.
I guess you could say it's pretty super. Because
and it's because it is very similar to some of. I was saying how it's similar to X-Men. If X-Men was an anime, this is kind of like what it would be like.
You've seen Sky High, right?
Oh, I love Sky High.
It's like Sky High, except better.
Well, I would hope so, because Sky High's not great.
No, that's no.
Sky High is fun. What are you talking about?
Sky High is a fond memory of mine. I love Sky High.
It was stupid and fun. What are you talking about?
Stronghold.
Yeah, so
that's right.
The Commander and Jetstream.
Oh, good grief.
Those costumes, though.
Yeah, pretty awesome. But yeah, so My Hero Academia is basically, it's like people around the world have started to get these powers, and they call them quirks. And it happens more and more with each generation, and basically it's to the point where the people who don't have powers are the minority.
I think they said like 80 to 90% people have quirks in this
Yeah.
world. So like, can you imagine mutants where 80 to 90% of the people in the X-Men were mutants?
Yeah, it's like almost everyone's able to do cool stuff. And then there's one character specifically, he's the main character, he doesn't have a quirk. So he's in the minority, and that really, really sucks. Because like everyone else is like, oh, I'm going to become a superhero, I can do this and that, watch what I do. And their powers usually manifest when they're like 5 or 6.
Yeah, so you don't see it right away for the most part, usually.
Not always, sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like he wants to be a superhero, and he wants to be like this one specific superhero called All Might, who's like the big guy. He's like the number 1 superhero in the world, but he doesn't have a quirk. So he basically finds out Well,
first off, before you get too far, in this world, the superheroes and the superhero world is the whole culture now. There's this whole new thing where it's actually a job to be a superhero, because
in a superhero culture.
Yeah.
So people have superpowers, but then there's superheroes to protect them, so they have agencies and everything.
Yeah. So there's this whole culture of where it's a whole business and world now where not only are they accepted, but it's become the norm where it's like it's that job everyone has to have. So think of it as like the Jedi almost, and how they have their different factions and stuff like that. Like it's just the norm, but then it's also commercial in a way too, where there's lots of advertising and all this thing.
It's like we want you to work for our agency or this one or that.
Oh, like superhero agencies. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And through a series of events, the main character Deku, he's able to get powers. The problem is, so he gets like super strength, right? His body cannot handle it though. He can be strong, but if he throws a punch, his arm will break.
Okay.
So he can do a lot of stuff, but his body will just break, and he
does that several times.
Yeah, he does, and he keeps doing it too for a while.
This is a guy from.
This guy right here. I got him yesterday. This is the guy that I cosplay. So this is Tenya Ida, or Ingenium, from My Hero Academia, and he is a guy who's basically got engines in the back of his legs, so he's able to run really fast.
I know. Weird.
I know it sounds weird. He's got metal pipes.
That is something I like about My Hero Academia, is that the powers. Weird. Yeah, the powers are more fun. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I was born with engines in my legs.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I like about anime, is just that it's so weird, but it can also be cool at the same time.
That's one of the things I've never been able to grasp.
How weird it is?
Yeah, I'm just like...
Yeah, at first I was just like, this is very, very bizarre, but then it's nice because it's a bigger variety, because we are pretty used to certain powers in shows and movies and comic books.
Yeah.
They go to the next level. They think about everything. Yeah, absolutely everything.
There's so many very specific ones, and so many things that seems very...
I mean, that's
the majority of the people who have quirks, is that they're tiny little things. Like Deku's mom is like, oh, I could like float this mug just a little bit.
Just a little thing.
Yeah. So it's like, imagine if you had just a little bit of force power.
Some people
that's what she has.
Yeah, some people have the lamest superpowers, but they still have powers. Like there's this one guy. Somehow he gets into the hero course. He's able to shoot a laser out of his belly button. I'm not even joking.
And he's super like flamboyant and full of himself. He's like, funny.
Oh, jeez.
But this show is so much fun because, first off,
it's visually appealing.
Yeah,
I will say that.
very reminiscent of something like Harry Potter, where everyone's in a school, because you're following these kids who are going. That's why it's similar to Sky High. Rather, you're going into the school.
Cosplay from it.
Going to.
Yeah.
Which one is it? Because you had earlier talked about doing one from that show where the guys had like a bird head.
Oh yeah,
oh, that's the same Tokiyami. I didn't end up going with that one. I'm going with President Mike. Which is when he's one.
Wait, did you say Prison Mike?
Present Mike.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Prison Mike.
Prison Mike.
What was the worst thing about prison? The Dementors.
And it's so funny because they go full on with this superhero culture. Everybody has their own pseudonames and everybody has their own superhero costumes that quote unquote enhance their superpowers. It's like full blown. It's so weird because it takes this concept of superheroes and like novelizes it to make it just everyday. Like this is what life would be like if almost everybody was a superhero, and it's so fun to see.
One of the main characters, his name is Bakugo. He's able to sweat nitroglycerin from his hands, so he's able to make explosions with his hands. But then he has these gauntlets that actually store the nitroglycerin, so he's actually able to unleash a huge explosion from his gauntlets, and they look like grenades, and it's so cool.
Wait, I think I've seen that.
You've seen that?
He's got, it's like grenades.
Yeah,
And
they look
got,
like grenades. There's a lot of cosplays like that.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to cosplay him originally, and then I was in a group or something, and somebody was already doing it, so I'm like, well, I guess I won't do it then. And then people were like, well, why don't you do this guy, Tenya Ida? And I'm like, all right, sure. And it turned out to be one of my best cosplays.
Because personality-wise, it just fits so perfectly.
He has like no chill, and he gets really annoyed, and he's very stern. And he's just like, hey, do everything right. Don't stand on the chair. What are you doing?
But
I'm like, it's the mom character. Yes.
Yep. For
I love. There is no way you can watch this show and not fall in love with one of the characters of this show because they're so diverse in such a good and defined way that
they have backstories for background characters.
This is one of the shows that has a lot of characters. Reminds me of Assassination Classroom, where there's some characters where they're side like B and C characters, but every character gets their moment to shine, and by the end of the show, you know all the characters. Yeah. And that's what this show is too. Like at first it's overwhelming because there's a lot of kids, but then slowly they start to like take portions of episodes, or in some cases like an entire episode, to really focus on one of the kids, and you get to know them more and more and more. And they're all
Is this still a running
memorable.
anime?
Oh yeah, season 3 is coming out this year.
Oh.
Yep.
I'm very excited. Actually, everything steps up after when season 2 hit, everything got bigger. Like, they had the tournament
exploded.
arc. Like the first season was good. It was fun. I was like, all right, this is a fun, feel-good anime. It's pretty cute, whatever. And then season 2 hits, and we're just like, whoa, because
so kind of like the Ruby.
It is really, really good. It steps up in every single way, and like my jaw was on the floor when I'd be watching each episode. Basically, I was really, really happy watching that. Well, yeah, like going back to characters who have moments to shine. After you think, oh, they're not really a big deal. I felt the same way about Todoroki. He's a character who has ice on one hand and fire on the other. You've seen him. Yeah. He didn't really stand out to me in season 1. I was like, all right, I guess he's cool, but he's
really reserved.
He looks really weird. Yeah. And his cosplay or his costume looked really weird.
Yeah. Everything is just a cosplay now.
It's all cosplay.
I gotta put my work cosplay on.
Yeah. But then he turns into a main character in season 2, and I didn't understand. I was like, "What? Where's this going?"
You should be showing off your shirt here.
I've got my UA High School T-shirt, which is where they go. Now, Will, you actually finished watching season 2 of My Hero Academia a little while ago.
Yes.
What did you think? Actually, watched the entire show.
It was for the most part up to the hype. I think. The final like few episodes were overhyped to me because they kept saying like, oh, just like this is the best part, and I was like, it was good. It was right on par with the rest of the season, and I loved it. But I didn't think it got increasingly better. Like, don't get me wrong. Like this season of an anime was like a 9 out of 10 for me. Mm-hmm. But it towards the end it started to get just a little bit hyped. But I freaking love that anime.
It does make sense, actually.
Yeah, it was so I'm really looking forward to it. I'm glad that I'm caught up because season 2 came out and I hadn't even watched season 1. So like halfway through season 2 is when I started watching it and I finally got caught up. And I think what makes this anime also super successful, because even if you're not in the anime scene, you probably know what this is, because it is like the cosplay community is such a factor.
It blew up this 2017.
It makes a huge impact on how popular an anime can become. And what makes My Hero Academia so powerful in the cosplay scene is a few things. Every year we have some big cosplay group that everyone's doing.
Mm-hmm.
We had like big ones was SAO. You know, you had
Attack on Titan.
Tokyo Ghoul. You had what was the one? You have
Yuri on Ice.
You have Ruby. You have Yuri on Ice, and now you have My Hero Academia. And some of these things have a lot of things in common. First off, a lot of characters, but not just a lot of characters, a lot of memorable characters. All those shows share that, especially My Hero Academia. Second of all, almost all of them have some sort of uniform that applies to the majority of characters.
Yeah.
Almost all those shows have it.
They have a gym uniform and they have a school uniform. And if you just have their wig or a little bit of makeup, and you can basically pull it off.
And why that's important is because then it's accessible to all levels of cosplayers. You know, because then you could look at these like big weapons and these crazy outfits that defy nature. You know, now you have a uniform that's really easy to pull off. You put on like a wig, and then boom, you're that character. And
or if you want to do a different character, you can just put on another wig, and you'll look great.
And so it makes
I cosplay as all the characters.
That's basically what Sam, our friend, did.
She's got like 6 now.
She has 6 wigs, and she just has to put the gym uniform on. She's fine.
So that's another element. And then last of all, like cool looking and just fun. And this obviously fits the bill in a lot of the things.
That's one of the reasons I wanted to cosplay this character, Tenya Ida, because
his helmet's even really cool too.
I haven't made his helmet yet. I know
it's cool.
Yeah, I was just I worked with foam a lot, so a lot of them have fabric costumes. I have to try so hard to say costumes now. But his is like basically all armor, and I was like, armor sticks out. You see, like you're walking down the road, you see somebody in close, you're like, okay, that's cool, and you see armor, you're just like, what is that? How is that made?
You're a big fan of armor.
I really love armor. I like seeing how it works, and that was my biggest.
Looks kind of like Alex.
What?
Hold on.
Are you looking?
It looks kind of like Alex.
I just gotta do the eyebrows. That is my go-to.
His helmet's so cool.
Okay, fine. I'll make the helmet eventually. Jeez.
He's got it covered.
Head covered.
He's way ahead of you.
Oh my word.
Okay. Anyways, but yeah. So I think this one is going. It definitely
it's still going strong.
Yeah. No, it's really popular from 2017 in the cosplay scene, but I think that 2018 is going to be its real stride because you've had a lot of people like me catching up, and to a lot of the bigger cosplayers working on making some of the bigger what they call hero outfits. So I think 2018 is actually...
This is my big hero outfit.
Yeah. So I think 2018 is going to be the real stride of it, where we finally have everyone really coming together with this, because I feel like it was towards the end half of 2017 where we really saw this anime coming into play.
It was summer when the anime was coming out. So.
Right. So I feel like by this time, this is when everyone's going to have their... And there's not much other challenges to it right now. There's no other... Right, I'm sure there'll be something coming out in 2018 that's going to go crazy. But as of right now, that's the it anime. And it's going to freaking destroy cons come this year.
It's just so gross for me to look at. I'm sorry, I can't...
I don't have calves like that at all.
It's so gross.
Very skinny calves. Yeah, it was... Well, when I first cosplayed Ida... Or when I did the hero outfit, it was at another anime con.
Yeah.
And there have been people who cosplayed him, but there's not a lot.
Yeah.
Like they're far and few between. But when I was actually at the con, there was like 2 or 3 people who said, "Hey, we're gonna cosplay this guy for Anime Boss, and we want to like look at your armor and everything." And they're like, "It's so accurate," and it made my heart warm. It's like I tried my very best to make it as accurate as I could, minus the chest piece and the helmet, but still. It felt really good because you want to look accurate, Like people can usually tell with the cosplay, like, okay, you if you have the wig and you have whatever, you can probably tell who they are, but a lot of times it might not be as accurate. So I literally tried as hard as I could to make that accurate, like the big leg pieces. Those are my big pieces, like my go-to pieces. Yeah, that's my bit. But I really love My Hero Academia.
It's just so good.
It gets better, and the characters get better, and you feel so many emotions too. Like, it's not just an action.
A lot of happy emotions.
Oh, a lot of happy, but it's also like heartbreaking happy in a way.
This is the first anime where I've really felt proud of the characters. Like, right off the bat.
You can see them grow. Like, season 1, whoa. Season 2, whoa.
Very similar to Harry Potter, where you're just like, oh, you guys have grown up so much, and I'm so proud of you guys and what you've been able... Very similar to that kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Not a lot of shows can do that,
And with anime, that's really cool that they're able to do that.
Yeah. Like,
but they also have a lot of options too when you're doing it in anime.
This show just hits so many notes that they just nail. It's one of the most consistently good animes we've had in a long time. Because like even Attack on Titan season 2 was good and bad. You know, from what I've heard, the first half was good, the second half not so much. But even that, it's definitely not widely as loved as the first season. We've got what other ones?
Death Note.
Death Note. Yuri on Ice still has yet to come up with another season, and it's kind of leaving all their fans out to dry.
They were all about like Yuri on Ice.
It was
fans.
massive.
It was huge. It was second half of 2016 to 2017.
Yeah.
I want to say that's when it was really, really big, and then it felt like it died off completely.
Well, yeah, because like the hype slows down, and then it's just like not enough to tease. Because I'm pretty sure at the end of season 2 of My Hero Academia, they had already said, "Yep, season 3 is coming."
Yeah, exactly.
So it keeps everybody invested, and for all we can know, I'm pretty sure Yuri on Ice has already announced that they are having a second season. But
what is that? Because right now it sounds like you're saying like Yuri on Ice.
Yeah, the character called Yuri, who's
on ice.
Who's skating.
Have you seen all
He's
the
not dead.
Have you heard of all the animes that's basically sports oriented and stuff like that?
Yeah.
This is an ice skating one.
Yeah, I don't watch it either.
How is that?
Anime has a weird fascination with sports. There's an anime for every sport. And
There's also a fetish for anything too, and Yuri on Ice. He covers a lot of that.
Yeah, we're not gonna go there.
That's some thin ice.
Oh my gosh! It hurts.
Someone stop him.
I'm sorry. Was that not cool?
I'm gonna put you on ice.
I'll stab you with a pen. What characters did you not like in the TV show?
So, in My Hero Academia, so I don't really hate any of the characters. However, and a lot of people are going to hate me for this, I'm not a big fan of Bakudo.
Bakugo.
Who's that?
He's the explosion guy.
Explosion.
Oh.
He likes to call himself King Explosion Murder. That's his superhero.
Explosion Murder.
That's what he wants to call himself.
Yeah, they had this
that.
They had this awesome episode where they're in class and they're coming up with their superhero names, and he keeps coming up with these really crazy.
He's like Lord Explosion Murder. Doesn't work. King Explosion Murder.
He always goes to the class and he's like, Lord Explosion Murder.
He's always screaming at everything. He's just like, you jerk, shut up.
Yeah,
he's the bully basically, but he's still cool for some reason.
I understand the appeal for him, absolutely.
I think,
but I don't. He just doesn't connect to me. I'm a sucker for Deku. I'm just from episode 3. I was like in half tears because I was like, I'm so proud of my boy. He's like achieving his dreams.
He's
and,
such a tiny kid, and he just wants to try his best.
Yeah, here's a kid who's like the biggest fanboy of All Might. Literally, like the number one superhero. They have rankings for like superheroes. You know,
he made his costume to look like All Might's, except it's all green, so it looks really
like
weird.
his own version. But he's a super fanboy, and he just wants to be a hero for all the right reasons. And he doesn't have a superhero, and it's just heartbreaking.
He doesn't have a superpower.
Yeah. And
so there's a scene where they go. The doctor's wondering like when is he gonna get his powers manifested, and the doctor gives him he tells him and his mom, like, it looks like he's probably not going to get any powers. And then later on in that scene, he's like sitting in front of the TV watching All Might, and he's smiling, but tears are going down his eyes, and he's just like, Mommy, do you think I'll actually get powers? And it's so heartbreaking.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And he's smiling the entire time. She just hugs him saying, I'm sorry, I don't think you will. And he's still smiling, and it's like that sad smile, tears running down his face. It hurts so much.
But then he ends up being like All Might ends up his power is actually transferable. He chooses him to like be like carry the torch.
He sees that he's worthy, basically.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you explained this to me before. It's like it just so happens that All Might's power, part of his power is that it's transferable.
Yeah, and that's not a common trait at all.
Yeah.
Like it's very unique.
It's explained later on in season 2, I think.
Yeah, they go into it. I won't like go into that so that way you can find out for yourself what it is. But it's so heartwarming, and just everything he does, and they do just so many things right in the show, and it's so fun to watch, you know?
It is fun. It is like encouraging. It's heartbreaking. It's also heartwarming. It's a lot of things, and usually with TV shows or anime, it's one thing or another. It's like, oh, it's a love show, or oh, it's an action show, or it's drama. This has almost everything. It's It's fun. It has a lot of action. It has a lot of.
So is this like your favorite anime?
This is in my top 3. That, Assassination Classroom,
It's
and
probably
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
It's probably my favorite.
What's Assassination in Classroom? Like,
Assassination Classroom.
We will talk about that another time.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's for another story.
All right.
I think it's my favorite ongoing anime at the moment, if that makes any sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot, like...
Because a lot of my
We are
favorites are
watching
done.
a lot of things that are actually coming out that are really, really good.
Yeah,
I only really watch... Well, there's Ruby,
that's true.
anime, quote-unquote.
Yeah. Western anime.
And
So-
there is Attack on Titan, which I'm kind of watching. But yeah, other than...
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else that's
And
coming
I think
out.
it's just because it's proven to be so... We have so much confidence in this next season, you know, because it's so consistently good. And that's hard to do with any show, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What's also encouraging is that they already have the manga for it, and I've heard good things about the storyline that's coming up
Yeah.
for the next season. So I love this show so much.
So yeah, whether you're into anime or not, highly recommend it. It's definitely, especially if you're looking for a gateway anime, this is a good one.
I still think people should start off a little bit slow with certain animes. Like go do a mild anime and then move up in the factor of weird, because this show can be weird at times.
Yeah, that's anime. I mean, you're dealing with a whole
If
other
you're starting
culture
with
here,
someone
you know?
who, if you're starting with someone who's never watched any anime,
Right.
you might want to I guess
I don't have that option with you guys.
Well, I mean-
slowly start them on stuff. I know that sounds terrible. It's like slowly start them on mild animes and then move on to better anime. I'm gonna stop now.
You can't see it, but I'm face palming so hard right now.
Well,
You should watch this anime. It's good.
so yeah, I'm going to talk about my thing now, which
I'm gonna talk about my thing.
Anyway, isn't this a great way to end a segment?
so
Our
yeah, I know.
segues are really bad
I know
today.
the segue, man.
So I'm gonna do mine.
I'm gonna switch.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip Gary. But yeah, so this week, Rooster Teeth, aka the makers of Ruby, among many other things, made
Please
a
notice me, Senpai.
yeah, made a documentary for Jessica Nigri. And if you haven't heard Jessica Nigri, because we briefly talked about cosplay just a minute ago, Jessica Nigri is one of the most well-known, if not the most well-known name in cosplay. You have other big names. You have Yaya Han, who is very influential in the creation of cosplay. She's actually got her name in places like Joanne Fabrics, or she's got her own section dedicated for cosplay fabrics. It's really cool. So it's cool to see that. It was so funny. Me and my friend were going to a Joann's to look for a fabric of my cosplay, and I was asking if they had a certain kind of like pleather fabric. She's like, yeah, there's got some over here and there's some over here. And if you come with me, there is this section called the cosplay section. It's like this like costume.
That's where you just stop. There's like, I know more than
yeah,
you.
I know. And I didn't tell them.
You've gone past your area of expertise and into mine.
It was so funny. She wasn't
Now
trying
I
to.
am the master.
She wasn't trying to go in depth, but she was like half explaining it, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of cosplay," you know.
Seriously?
Gotta be honest.
I didn't want to go into that conversation with
Well, it
her.
would have been kind of cool to be like, actually, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, it's funny you mention that. That's why I'm here.
There was one time I was getting pleather for my Roy cosplay.
what the hell is pleather?
It's plastic leather.
Oh,
So it's fake
that makes
leather.
sense.
Yeah.
It was really more simple than I thought it was going to be.
But yeah,
It's a
so I was
cheap
getting,
leather.
so I was getting some for Roy, and then so I'm at Hobby Lobby getting this because they have really good pleather there, and she's cutting the fabric, and she's like, "What are you making? Some pants?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm making pants. I'm totally not making pants whatsoever." But I was like, "Yeah,
I'm making pants out of pleather.
let's do it." I mean, you can know like cowboy like stuff.
Yeah. What are those called again?
I don't know. Why'd you look at me? I don't know.
Stirrups, something along those. Anyways, that's
Stirrup,
way off
that's
topic.
on a saddle.
But yeah, so you have Yaya Han, famous in like the actual like making of cosplay stuff. You have Alison Tabithia, I believe.
I have no idea. I don't know anyone else besides Jessica Nigri.
She is really popular because of her makeup skills and how she can This is the person who does Jack Sparrow.
Oh, yeah, she does Wonder Woman. She has like a perfect look.
Oh, I've seen pictures of her. She
Yeah.
looks just like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her skills to transfer, because she's also, don't get me wrong, makeup is her strongest point, but her costuming skills are also on point as well, but her makeup is what sets her apart, and her ability to literally make her face look like other people. So she's done. Let's keep in mind here. This is a she who's done again. Alison Tabithy, I believe.
Yeah, we're gonna look at that.
Hold on, I'm gonna. So she's
Tabuthia, sorry.
She's done. I'm trying to talk as I'm looking up stuff.
I think it's Alison Tabitha.
Tabitha?
Yeah.
I'm apologize to anyone who's cringing really hard right now.
It's Tabbitha.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tabitha.
Oh my word, yeah. So her Wonder Woman literally looks like Wonder Woman, and she does one for Lightning from Final Fantasy 13, and it looks just like her.
Yep.
It's
and
scary.
she does Padme from
She does Edward Scissorhands.
Edward Scissorhands. She does Newt Scamander from the new Harry Potter series. Seriously, the ability to change her face into other actors is incredible. She does these famous side-by-side photos, and I'm sure you've seen them on Facebook. Like, look at what this cosplayer can do, and usually you see those things on like pages.
Looks just like Padme.
Yeah, it's nuts what she's able to do.
Wow.
So she's also really popular for that reason as someone who's also able to breach that gap into the non-cosplay scene.
Her birthday's the same as mine.
That's awesome. So then you have Jessica Nigri. Like, I think of those people as the big three. You've got Yaya Han, you've got Allison, and then you've got Jessica. And Jessica, why I think, in my opinion, that's awesome. In my opinion, it's
Wonder Woman in a sweater. Sorry.
What's great about her is that she'll deny this, is in my opinion why she's the head figure of cosplay.
Who?
Because Jessica Nigri.
Okay.
Because she has the personality. Don't get me wrong, she has phenomenal.
She's got other things too.
Hey, so we're gonna talk about that in a second. Anyways, so
there's a reason why she's popular. All right, don't let William fool you.
That's not the only reason.
Okay, so she embodies the personality of the typical cosplayer of just being super dorky, going through the same problems of us of con crunching and really just trying to get crap done, and then also dealing with just your normal like con stuff, but on a more extreme level, of course. This documentary was a great eye-opener for anybody who didn't know much about her. I already knew her, like, because I've met her in person, got to talk to her, and really get to see her as a person.
I've even met her, and it was weird, though, because I have no idea who she is. So it's like another person for me. I'm like, oh, hi, cool.
So
you're famous, I think.
Jessica Nigri was also one of the first cosplayers that non-cosplayers have heard of, based off of her famous sexy Pikachu.
Yes, exactly
Pikachu.
Pachukaboo.
And she talked about all of this in the documentary, and she did it for fun, and she got a lot of attention for it, so she kept doing it. But then it became more of, I want to do more challenging cosplays, you know?
Yeah.
She still does sexy cosplays, but she still does a lot of, like normal cosplays and whatnot. But regardless of the fact, for the most part, almost all of them are super complicated and super impressive. She does a lot of
how many times have you said super in the podcast?
Super.
So she does like a lot of like ones from like Blizzard to like WoW, and just the amazing like armor that she's able to do and stuff. She's a very well-rounded cosplayer, especially being up there. So, and she will tell you herself, she's not the best at making armor. She's not the best with makeup. She's not the best at doing all these things. But what is understated about her is her personality, and that makes her seem accessible to people.
People gravitate towards that.
She can be the face of cosplay because she's.
Because I'll tell you right now, anybody who hates on Jessica Nigri is 100% making that judgment off of just her pictures. Because in the pictures, yes, she's a model, and she's modeling her cosplays. Yeah. She's going to look like... Because people don't think too fondly of models. You think that most models are stuck up and like think so much of themselves, and they're higher above other people. Jessica Nigri is the exact opposite of that. So if you were to judge her by looking at just her pictures and comparing her to other models, you'd be right to think so. But if you took a moment to see anything, and I mean anything that she does where she's actually talking or doing something, you will realize that she's the dorkiest nerd ever.
That's actually what happened. Like I've got like I went on an Instagram page and was like, it's a lot of like, photos of her being like a model, I guess, whatever you do when you're modeling. But then I watched one of her videos on YouTube, and she was like talking about what she was making, how she was making it, and she's going step through step while being a complete dork.
And
I absolutely
funny.
loved it. I was like,
so
oh my
funny.
goodness.
Like, she is so funny. And I'm not saying that Yaya Han and Allison don't have great personalities, but Jessica's really conveys over camera and online and makes her feel more accessible. And it's like, she's
weird.
Yeah.
Dude, she's
in
weird.
the best way, though. It's just because you have to be weird to love cosplay a little bit, And I mean, all nerds are weird. Okay, let's get over that bridge.
She shows her weird.
And she's proud of it, And she talks about her journey in this documentary of how she brought up this way. She actually was born in New Zealand. She's not American.
I think your dad's American.
It's possible. I don't know, but they moved to Arizona, I believe.
I thought you were American.
Yeah. So she grew up in grade school in America, and then the culture was very different. She was very free-spirited in New Zealand, but then a lot of girls picked on her for being nerdy and not like wearing lots of makeup and stuff like that.
Not just that, she also had her accent, so that was really rough. Being like a middle schooler with an accent that nobody understood. Yeah,
and it's really cool because she can still do that accent on a whim when she feels like it, and it's like she sounds very reminiscent of Hugh Jackman.
Well, he is from New Zealand, so...
Is he from New Zealand or is he from Australia?
I'm pretty sure he's from New Zealand.
Either way, their accents are pretty similar.
We have a fourth person on the show. It's Google. Hey Google, where's Hugh Jackman from?
Hugh Jackman? Wait, are you talking about Hugh... Wait, you said...
Where is Hugh Jackman from?
No, Hugh Jackman is from Australia.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh. Yeah.
Sydney, Australia.
Yeah.
I thought you said Peter Jackson.
No.
Excuse me.
What?
Excuse me. You've been listening?
No, I haven't.
But yeah. Anyway, she's talking about her.
Where is Jessica Nigri from?
We just told you. I
want to know exactly where.
Wow.
It says she was born in Reno, Nevada.
So maybe So I
grew up in Christchurch, New Zealand.
Okay, so she was born,
which is her mother's hometown.
Okay,
yep.
So that makes sense. And I didn't say I wasn't 100% on that fact, but she definitely spent her first years in New Zealand, growing up in that culture. But
she was a Kiwi.
What does that mean?
I think that's what they call their kids.
Oh,
but
in New Zealand.
But yeah, she still is a very free-spirited person, but I think that if you were to judge her just based off of her pictures, you wouldn't feel that, But you watch, you watch her stories on Instagram, you watch any of her cosplay tutorials on YouTube, or just watch this doc. This doc is only 50 minutes, and it's such a well-rounded display of who she is as a person and her processes doing things. Her upbringing, which a lot of us didn't know too much about. This is the first time that I feel like she's really.
I would have thought she was like more popular in school.
Yeah. Oh, not at all. And I think that's what a lot of people just assume about her. There's so much assumptions about her, and I'm so glad that this doc came out to really clear the air about that. Especially because she deserves so much better than the hate that she gets. A lot of people don't even think that she makes her cosplays. That's anything but true. She makes almost all of her cosplays, and the few that she doesn't, or like pieces, are things that are commissioned or things that are given to her, and so she's wearing it because of that. But she makes her cosplays, and she's extremely skilled. And if you think for a second that she doesn't, then that's, again, another snap judgment. She gets, unlike Yaya Han and Allison, she gets so much crap from people who think they know everything about her when they don't. And it's so disappointing because they put so minimal effort to know who she is as a person and just assume that she's just some stuck-up model. And she's got great looks. So what? So do a lot of cosplayers that are famous.
So do I.
That's how popular people work. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like when you get popular and you get money, all of a sudden you look better. It's a thing.
What?
Look at Chris Pratt before he became famous. He is not like you can even.
He also worked out for a role.
I know, but I'm saying that things of that nature and being in Hollywood, stuff like that. Like even if it's just working out for a thing, like naturally makes you a better looking person.
It becomes it becomes one of your assets.
Yeah.
That you have to. It makes sense to spend money on.
Yeah.
But
so you can't. It's so stupid to hate on her because she's.
I'm like looking at all the different cosplays she's done, but I'm not getting very good. I'm not getting very good results.
Are you just googling it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not the right way to do it because then that's the sad part.
that's the
you get everything.
You get the worst part of it.
Yeah, that's the thing because people will literally make jokes about her about saying, literally quoting how how Jessica Nigri is everything wrong that is with cosplay. And that's awful. Can you imagine being someone who is so popular and influential in the cosplay scene and then saying that you're everything wrong that is like, she gets so much hate and she's such a strong person for putting up with all the crap that she gets. And especially talking with her in person, the amount of time that she takes to talk to every single person and really is invested.
She actually talked to me too.
Yeah, and is invested in every single person that comes up is phenomenal. She is one of my favorite people I've ever met at a con. And the amount of respect that she has for other cosplayers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, if you were to meet her, your mind would be freaking blown about just how...
I did meet her. I just didn't know who she was.
Yeah.
Was your mind blown?
I mean, I have no... And that's the thing. I have no idea who she was. So I was like, we were on her birthplace, and I just, like, moved over to images, like, well, I don't know what cosplay she's done, so I'm going to look. And I didn't get any good results.
Because, that's all what the mainstream people want to share. Anything in the community, we show you, like, let me pull up one of her cosplays that she's done, because if you go to like her Instagram, which that's
something that she's posted personally, would be better.
Like check out she did a recent shoot with a wolf. Like check that out.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's Ayla the Huntress from Skyrim. Yeah, so that's cool.
And she does just so. This is the one that was in the documentary. That's from WoW.
Yeah,
and that's it's so cool, and the stuff that she does.
Alex, I feel like we've done a lot of visual context stuff this episode. It's just like we're laughing and you don't know.
You don't know why we're laughing.
When William uploads the videos, you'll know.
Oh man. Yeah, when I first met her at Boston Comic Con, it was pretty cool. I think I was in line by myself, or pretty much with my.
No, I was in line with you because that's when I met her too. I didn't know who she was.
No, you didn't. I thought you met her with someone else. Maybe it was another time, or because
I met her at Boston Comic Con last year.
Yeah. Well, we all met her at Boston Comic Con.
Also, she was really sick at the last day of Boston Comic Con.
Yeah, she was.
And you wouldn't know if you were there.
Well, I was there, and I saw her going like this and having to take a break, and then our friend who was right in front of her going to meet her next. That was when like she had to go and leave, and he's like, "Is it my fault that she got sick?" And I was like, "No, dude."
But the fact that she showed up and still did everything,
she still did it, all of it. I would have been like, "Nope."
The amount of exhaustion that she had throughout the weekend, and then on the last day being sick, and like not being like cold sick, being like really sick, and still pulled through it was amazing.
I wouldn't do it.
She is so committed to her craft, and especially the community. And the fact that she puts so much love and care into the community, only to get so much hate, not from the community, but from people outside of the community, that it's almost overwhelming. It's just awful. And I hope that if you're willing to literally just give her a few minutes of your time, if you actually like care about people, watch the documentary. It's on roosterteeth.com.
If you're not a heartless,
if you
mean
have
person,
a soul, watch this documentary.
Yeah. If you don't feel like investing for some reason 15 minutes of your time, go to your YouTube channel and check out one of her cosplay tutorials. And her personality just shines through. It's wonderful, and she's a wonderful human being, and it really hurts that someone so awesome gets treated this way, you know.
When I first met her, like I was cosplaying Jean Arc, and she also voices Cinder from Ruby. We've already talked about Ruby and the spoilers and everything, so Cinder basically kills the girl who my character's like into. Pyrrha! When Pyrrha's ashes, you have my permission to die.
No.
So yeah, I went up to her dressed as Jean Arc, and she just looked at me and she's like, "I'm sorry," and I'm like, "It's okay."
You're not sorry.
So I go up to her, I get a picture with her, and then she signs my my Jean Arc sword, and then I look at what she wrote, and it says "Get wrecked."
Oh, she did?
Seriously?
Oh!
You say you're sorry, and then you say something.
I also think it's awesome that she just sees you in the Jean Arc, and she's automatically like, "I'm so sorry, dude." Like she just knows. Like she's not so like. So that
she knows that I'm in line. I'm just like, I don't know what.
So
you did.
what that tells me is like she's not just doing the voice work just as a job. It's like she really loves this.
Yeah.
Like she knows.
She knows the people who cosplay.
She grew up with Rooster Teeth, and she has a big connection with that company, which is one of the reasons why they did a documentary for her. And she's in a lot of their productions, which is awesome to see. And one of the people from Rooster Teeth, Barbara Dunkelman, is in a lot. She does a lot of cosplays with Jessica on some cool stuff, and that's really fun to see. But just, her just commitment to everything that she's in, and really just giving a crap about stuff, you know? It's awesome.
I hope I can see her at Katsucon, actually.
I saw her at Katsucon. I was disappointed. I didn't get to see her in her big, like, outfit that she made for KatsuCon. I actually saw on the last day when she was just in a Kigu and just chilling around. She was going to take some.
Okay.
And she was going to.
All these words.
I know.
Like a Kigu is just like a cosplay onesie, basically.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, fancy onesie. But anyways,
it's the ones where you basically have no legs to move. It's like it's hanging down to your ankles.
Anyway. But yeah, so she was on her way to do something in Bourne. She was taking pictures for a friend, and me and some friends that were nearby me saw her and asked like, "Hey, like we want to take pictures." And even though she was clearly busy, she had a whole team of people with her that was helping out with this thing. She actually took a minute of her time to stop and talk to us.
Wow.
Despite like she was clear, like she definitely maxed out the amount of time that she could on her way to something. Like you could tell that she's on her way, and she was like, "Oh, I'm going to show just enough interest to know that you got like to you guys that I care, but I do have to get on to like moving stuff." And that was my first impression. Even though it was a small, I instantly got that feeling. It's like, I think she's a little bit more than people give her credit for. And like, literally every time I see her interact with people or see her online doing stuff, it's just a reconfirmation of that fact.
Yeah.
So yes, her photos is what everybody sees, and you can't judge her just because she is a good-looking person who models all these costumes. It's terrible to judge just someone off their looks and then assume their entire personality based off of their looks, and what they're showing, So, but yeah, please just get don't apply this.
Give her a chance.
Don't apply this to Jessica Nigri. Like apply this to like people in general, whether big or small. Just assuming stuff about people. Just be a better person, dang it.
Just because you look like a butt doesn't mean you act like no.
And trust me, there are some butts in the name of cosplay, but she's not one of them. And.
What is that?
I'm really uncomfortable.
Too.
Everything.
Go on, Will.
The last 20 minutes.
So, yeah, I don't know like where I'm going from this. I feel like you just talk about like this in circles all day long about her, but like she's one of like my favorite celebrities.
At the end of the day, she's a human being, and
a good one. Dang it!
It doesn't matter what you think of a person, even if they end up being that way. You still should.
Geek Kind
benefit of the doubt. Be kind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the kind of mentality that we're trying to.
She's also just a real encouragement to other cosplayers who really are trying their best.
She, despite what people may think of her, she's a very genuine person. She gave one of our friends a really good pep talk at Boston Comic Con.
Oh yeah, and that makes my heart warm.
Went out of her way to do so too, and that was wonderful. So don't like. I don't like have any reason to believe into all these things that people are saying about her whatsoever, and almost all, I don't think there's a single hater that has actually really got to talk to her in person, anybody who's been able to talk to her in person, just instantly that stuff just goes right away. You're like, wow, this is not the person I thought at all, So
Jessica Nigri and her documentary. Yay.
Yeah, watch it. It's on roosterteeth.com. Go for it. It's good
not
stuff.
on YouTube yet.
Not on YouTube. I don't know if it will be because I think it may be a Rooster Teeth exclusive thing. But go watch it on there. If you can't watch it for whatever reason, go on YouTube and just watch some of her stuff. She's a wonderful, fun person, and you're going to have a good time watching her. So, and she's got skills. You'll be impressed with the stuff that she does.
What are you doing, Alex?
So finishing up with that and talking about cosplay, I would also like to announce that we are going to be working on one of our next big projects, which is another podcast, but this podcast is going to be focused on cosplay, and it's going to be called Coscast. It's simple, I know, it's not that crazy, but trust me that this is going to be the cosplay podcast that's really made from cosplayers to the cosplayers. It's going to be, we're going to be talking about more sensitive stuff and stuff in the community, stuff like Jessica Nigri, like we talked about today, and how a lot of like judgment gets thrown her way. We're not going to shy away from the more controversial things of cosplay. We're going to talk about that stuff. We're going to talk a lot about conventions and news related to that and our experiences with conventions.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah, the good, the bad, the ugly. And really hoping to put a positive spin on everything and really trying to provide a very neutral and understanding of everything that's going on in the cosplay community. And also lots of talking about conventions and things that's going on with that nature. Hopefully providing some cosplay tips and probably have some guests here and there, and then also and then also
just for your information, it's who's it going to be? It's going to be Alex and a friend of ours, Nick, right?
Yep.
Who are gonna co-host that. So some have a new face.
Yeah,
it's fun. This is
New
good.
space for the podcast that you'll be listening to.
Absolutely, it's going to be wonderful, and we're really looking forward to bringing this to you guys. It's going to be definitely a great like stop, one-stop everything for everything involving cosplay, you know, and all the aspects of it, you know. Yeah. So, but yep, that is coming to you March 2nd. I reserve the right to change that date, but as of right now, March 2nd is when you can expect for that a new podcast to release. And we're really looking forward to it. So stay tuned for that if you love everything cosplay.
Yeah.
That's everything I've got. So
that's all, folks.
That's all.
As always, stay kind, geeks.
Outro.